y'all, kid Jerome here. I'm working my way through 1001 albums you must hear before you die, and the 23rd one is The Dreaming. The Dreaming is the fourth album released by English singer-songwriter Kate Bush in September of 1982. This is the first album that's fully produced by Kate Bush, just her voice, and her synthesizer. This is the early 80s, so synthesizers were very in fashion. They were developing very rapidly. There is not much you can't do on one. The programmed drums on this album are very big, very dramatic at times. You hear them from the very beginning of the album. On the intro of Sat in Your Lap, you have this deep, reverberant sort of stadium tom. It's this very loud, huge sound that's very dramatic, that takes the energy of the song really up a few notches. You hear this really big drum sound again on Night of the Swallow. We have these drum fills that sort of punctuate her vocal passages, and it's really cool stuff how she's able to use this very specific drum sound to make her tracks that much wider, that much more deeply textured. They really give the songs context, dramatic context, emotional context. The piano playing on this album is very consistent, very impressive, very good, but never over the top. She's never really showboating. She's more concerned with staying true to the songs and giving the songs what they need, rather than letting the songs be a stage for her to do backflips on. I really appreciate this approach to solid songwriting, just making good music. All the Love's piano chords are very delicate but very confident. They're very effective in driving the song forward and giving it sort of a narrative trajectory. We also have some very delicate piano on Houdini, some very, very soft, gentle, almost heartbreaking piano lines that establish the melody and really kick off the song. And it's Kate Bush's performance that really puts these songs over the top. There's no shortage of wacky sounds on this album. Lots of weird, unpredictable stuff, but that's kind of Kate's thing. That's kind of her signature sound I'm starting to learn, and I really appreciate it for what it is. Get Out of My House has this hee-haw sample on the intro and the outro. Pull the Pin features a train passing by and helicopter sounds at one point, and The Dreaming has a didgeridoo, birds flying away, a crowd chanting. I swear I heard the Smash Achievement Unlocked sound at 2:57. There's lots of crazy stuff happening here. All these weird sounds and unconventional structures really contributed to the album feeling genre-less. A lot of these songs are impossible to pin down, like Get Out of My House. Where is this coming from? What else sounds like this? There Goes a Tenor feels like carnival music with this very plucky, walky piano chord lead, and Houdini has all sorts of stylistic influences that make it really impossible to classify. I mean, we have piano, we have electric bass, and then at the end we have like orchestral strings. What else is on here? We have screaming, literal screaming. So but it's amazing. It's an amazing song. It all works together. It shouldn't work together, but Kate Bush is able to take all these influences, all these really weird ideas, and somehow make something that makes sense, that's concise, that's cohesive, that's not necessarily easy to process, but easy to appreciate. There's very, very unconventional song structures on here. Very few of the songs have a noticeable hook, have a refrain. Very few of the songs sound like they would be played on the radio at all. But I love it for that. I love this album for that. All the Love has these very dramatic musical breaks where everything kind of cuts out and you hear this very low, very, very low choir sound. I thought it was a sub bass at first. And then Bush comes in with these high-pitched, really ethereal, chilling vocals. They sound kind of like a FKA Twigs song, the way that she's able to hit those high notes and really sustain them, hit us with that vibrato, tug at the heartstrings. It was extremely effective, and it wouldn't have been possible if she didn't cut out the song so drastically like she did, if she followed more conventional song structures. It was her playing with form that allowed us to have this emotional, climactic moment. Kate Bush's voice blew me away. I didn't know she could sing like this. A lot of her deliveries are sort of mid-range, matter-of-fact. Like on the verses of There Goes a Tenor, it feels like she's sort of building up to something, but you can't really tell where each song is going until you get there. So it's very tense. It's very tense, this mid-range delivery. Her high-pitched vocals are very ethereal, very masterful. There's very interesting stuff going on here. She's able to belt at a very high range. Suspended in Gaffa has an example of this belting. It's very deeply emotional, very intense, very, very intense stuff. We also have the background vocals on Leave It Open. They're very shrill, very floaty. They sort of come off like ad-libs sometimes, giving the song more context than just a main line. And they were just very well executed. I really appreciate these moments where she taps into her higher range and really shows off a little bit. She doesn't do it much, but when she does, these are the more attention-grabbing moments on this album. They're the ones that stand out. Especially when she's just singing her heart out, really giving us her all. Pull out the pin, we have these moments where she's literally screaming, I love life, I love life. It's very visceral. It really strikes you to your core. It's this very primal scream. Night of the Swallows chorus is deeply emotional. It's very intense. She's really singing out of her mind on this one, and this is the climax of the album for me. All the instruments crescendoing up into this huge moment where Kate is just delivering. It's incredible stuff. But there's some weird moments for sure. Weird vocal deliveries that I wouldn't say are bad, just a little strange. Like on the title track, she sings in this sort of loose Australian accent. We even have some gibberish scatting halfway through, but it's very effective. I really like the scatting. I didn't like the Australian accent so much. It was a little strange, but sonically it fit. It really needed to sound like that on the song, I think. We also have more screaming on Houdini, literally screaming, and when it happens, the instrumental sort of cuts out, and it's like this dramatic whoa moment. It wasn't really expected from me. You can't really feel it coming, but when you're there, you're there. The Dreaming is a really magnificent piece of art. From beginning to end, the album's constantly subverting your expectations, but in the best way possible. It feels like Kate Bush is her truest, most authentic self on this album. That's a feat that every artist really strives for, but few ever achieve. Kate Bush definitely achieved that on this record. She definitely impressed me. I would recommend this album to people who are looking for something different, people who have more of an ear for the experimental sound and weird girls, and I mean that in the best way possible, I promise you. Some tracks that really stood out to me were Houdini, All the Love, and Night of the Swallow. I'm gonna give this album a solid 9 out of 10. Ha! Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about the album in the comments below. Make sure you leave a like if you appreciate anything I had to say. That really helps me out. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss Thursday's video where I'm going to be reviewing Me Against the World by Tupac. So until then, peace.